Among AGBU's several important programs, this year took place the 8th annual screenings of the Armenians in Film at Lincoln Center, showcasing the works of award-winning filmmakers at one of the country's leading film presenting venues. This year's event showcased 6 short films by award-winning Armenian filmmakers, followed by a Q&A session moderated by Emmy-winning filmmaker and television producer Theodore Bohosian.
I think it's supremely important at this point in Armenian history for young people to be able to relate Armenian stories to the world. My professional opinion about these films is that they are supremely confident in their storytelling, no matter the genre, no matter the filmmaker. They're all very professionally made. And it warms my heart because when I started, there were very few of us making films like this. And for the Armenian message to get out in this way, it's very, very important.
In addition to film screening, AGBU Arts is raising funds for AGBU's Global Relief Fund for Artsakh, Armenia. The event began with opening remark by AGBU's Arts Director Haik Arsenyan, who spoke about the success of the film program here in the US and also around the world, and made a special appeal for donations to help displaced Armenians of Artsakh.
Well, it has been already 8 years that we've been screening, holding this film screening series at Lincoln Center, Film at Lincoln Center, which is one of the most prestigious film venues in the world. And it is principle for us, for AGBU, to present Armenian films at a non-Armenian, at a worldwide respected venue where those films get access, get exposure, not only to the Armenian audience, but to the international audiences. And after a successful 8 years of screening Armenian films, we've been also touring this series internationally and have been already holding screenings in London several times, 3 times already in London, 2 times in Brazil, in Los Angeles, and just recently in Sydney and Melbourne. So, and again, at very prestigious venues. So this is very important for us, and this way we are introducing Armenian art, introducing Armenian filmmakers to the world audience.
The first film of the evening was an animation short titled The Sunset, directed by Christine Khanamirian. Christine Khanamirian is an animator and TUMO student. She is currently studying graphic design at the National University of Architecture and Construction of Armenia, and is skilled in designing characters for animations, comics, and more. The film tells a story of a student who goes on a fantastic journey contemplating the importance of happiness and budding friendships versus their studies. Crossing the Blue by Victoria Alexanian. Victoria is a director from Armenia. She holds a Master of Fine Arts degree in Cinematography Production from Columbia University School of Arts. Crossing the Blue, a narrative short co-written, directed, and co-produced by Victoria, is Armenia, Netherlands, USA co-production. The film premiered in July 2022 at Golden Apricot International Film Festival's official competition and internationally at Cinemt Montpellier Mediterranean Film Festival's official competition. A story of Anush, an immigrant who fled post-Soviet Armenia from her abusive husband and who is facing eventual deportation years later.
Possibly ending your life before?
No.
Why did you refuse emergency landing?
I didn't want them to lose their flights because of me.
How many pills did you take?
I don't know.
Victoria Alexanian joined live audience at Lincoln Center remotely via Zoom for Q&A following the screening of her film.
Talk about the genesis of Crossing the Blue. Where did it come from?
Yeah, it has several things mixed in. As any fictional filmmaker, when there are lots of things going on and you are inspired or you have a need to tell a story, sometimes you throw some of your personal things in and some fictional, and then also some life of others. I think this is an example of such case. I was, after living for many years in States, I was going back to stay for a while, and it felt like going back. And I kept asking myself a question, what it means to go back, what it means to sort of like that homecoming, what is it? Is it a step back or is it a step forward? Do I get a new chance? Do I start a new life, or this is temporary? And meanwhile, there was a lot going on in the country, and I realized that lots of people who are coming back, they don't feel like they have the second chance. And this sort of like heavy times in between 2018 and 2019 sort of ended with eventual war. And my story, the fictional part, came about when I realized what it means for a young 18-year-old boy to be back to his country. He hasn't lived there for most of his life. It means conscription to the army. It means fighting in the war. It means potentially dying. There are many different choices that one can make, and none of that can be judged. And in this case, it is, I think, a tragic. In my opinion, a tragic sort of genesis of our nation, that we need to constantly run and find new homes, and then ask ourselves question whether we belong there or we belong to a home that has been abandoned by our parents or ancestors.
Tehatsi, I Was Another Place by Tatiana Budakian. Tatiana Budakian graduated as social communication and marketing in 2014 and completed her post-graduation in audio-visuals production design in 2018. In 2015, after spending 6 months in Armenia through the Birthright program, she started working in photography and cinematography. She has worked on numerous projects as a director's assistant and production design coordinator, as well as cinematographer and editor. Anush is a young Armenian woman who travels to Brazil without a return ticket. Once she is welcomed and inserted into Armenian community in São Paulo, her biggest challenge is to adapt to the large and cosmopolitan city so far from her roots.
Fronteira que chora e faz chorar. Lá de onde vem tanta gente sem um lar. Quem sabe amor nos habitar.
Vamos lá, hoje. Pra mim, postura. Abaixa um pouco o queixo. Posso subir? Pode.
Tatiana Budakian also joined remotely via Zoom for live Q&A after screening of her film.
The production itself, it was like 2 years, but because of pandemic. But the shooting, it was a total of 9 days shooting, like day and night, every single hour, but 9 days. And after a lot of time, actually before a lot of time making the script, and after a lot of time editing and post-production, producing.
It's so moving. What are you thinking about now for your next film?
I am actually starting a documentary now. I'm interviewing women here in Brazil, diaspora Armenian Brazilian women, and from different ages, different contexts, people that are very into the community and people that are outsiders. So I don't know exactly what kind of movie will be, but the research it will be based on these interviews with these women. I've already interviewed among 30 women until now, and it's been like a very intense experience to hear what they have to say about their lives, about their families, histories.
The wrote Janapar by Charlotte Montgomery and Zella Marcosian Quintet. Charlotte Montgomery is a director and artist based in Eastern Australia. Known for her signature style, Charlotte's works focuses on experimental filmmaking, playing daringly with narrative and aesthetic abstractions. Charlotte's background as an award-winning production designer informs her formally inventive, subversive approach to cinema and art creation. The poetic vision of director Charlotte Montgomery converges with a spellbinding score of Armenian-Australian jazz band Zella Marcosian Quintet in the road Janapash. The Mud by Vaharam Grigoryan. Vahan is an inspiring film director and screenwriter who was born and grew up in Yerevan, Armenia. He is an international relations specialist by trade but has never worked in the field. In 2021, Vahan decided to embrace his childhood passion for filmmaking by writing and directing his debut short film, The Mud, which has won numerous Armenian awards. Raphael is approaching his home. At his alleyway, he notices a lone goose. No one in the village keeps geese. Upon rushing to catch the goose, he leaves a path of muddy footprints behind. His wife, her neighbors, follow the trail of muddy footprints and feathers outdoors. They conclude that an angel must have visited their home.
Տունս հրեշտակ ա մտել։
Բարև, բարև։ Խերել ինչ է։
Արի, խերա, լավ բան է եղել։
Ինչ։
Տունը հրեշտակ է մտել։
Ինչ հրեշտակ։
Սպիտակներից։
Հիմա ներստա։
Թռելա։
Այսօր առավոտից մի տեսակ անհանգիստ էի։ Փաստորեն տունս հրեշտակ էր մտել։
Տես ինչ լավ է։ Դու էլ ասում էիր, չէիր ասում են։
Արիթմիա։
Հա, արիթմիա։ Էդ ի՞նչ է։
Հիվանդություն է էլի։
Պետք է մեր տուն չգնանք։ Դիստեղ մնանք։
Որ ստեղ մնայինք, տուն չեր մտնի։
Գանիկ տունը նայել ես, բան չի կորել։
Էդ ինչ պտի կորեր։ Ոչ մի բան էլ չի կորել։
Հրեշտակները բան չեն գոհում։
Շատ պատահական հորինված պատմություն է, ընկերներով քննարկում էինք հավատքի թեման, առեղծվածների թեման, մի խոսքով, եւ հորինվեց այսպես ասած այդ պատմությունը, հասկացանք, որ այդ պատմությունը հաստատ կարող է տեղի ունենալ ու անգամ քաղաքում կարող է տեղի ունենալ։ Մի խոսքով, բայց ասել հավատքի մասին ֆիլմ չէ, հավատքի մասին ֆիլմ չեմ նկարել ես, այստեղ ավելի շատ մարդն է, որը ոնց կպահի իրան, ոնց կպահի մարդը պատահականությունների շղթա ընկնելու դեպքում։ Մի խոսքով, փորձել ենք այդ կողմից մոտենալ հավատքի թեմային եւ էլի ասեմ, ես ավելի շատ մարդու պահելաձևն էի ուզում ցույց տալ, քան հավատքի թեման։
Stones by Arman Ayvazyan. Arman Ayvazyan was born in 1994 in Yerevan, Armenia. He graduated from Armenian Pedagogical Institute in 2016 with focus in film directing. He later attended the Russian State University of Cinematography of GIG, where he graduated in 2022 in the Department of Directing Nonfiction Films. Arman now works as a documentary filmmaker in his native country of Armenia and has seen his work showcased in several prestigious film festivals. The brutal Nagorno-Karabakh War of 2020 ended in Russian-mediated ceasefire, forcing Armenians to cede territory it had controlled to Azerbaijan. As a result, thousands of Armenians living in these regions were forced to leave their homes. Days before the handover deadline, a group of volunteers risked their lives to enter Lachin corridor to search for and save the beautiful, ancient, sacred Armenian stone inscription on Al-Khachkar from destruction.
Всякие черствые детали морали, если да.
Զարգացած միջնադարում տվյալ զորակներում ունեցել ենք հզոր մշակութային շեֆ։ Հուշարձանը իր տեղը ի նկատի ունենալով, սակայն մենք ունենք ջուղայի դառը փորձը, երբ որ ջուղայից բերված խաչքարերը որոնք որ կանգնեցված են, դրանք թրթվեցին, իսկ մնացածը ամբողջությամբ ոչնչացվեցին։ Այսինքն մենք այստեղ կանգնած ենք երկընտրանքի առաջ։ Կամ հանենք այստեղից, հա, իր տեղը ֆիքսելով եւ փրկենք իրան ֆիզիկապես, կամ թողենք այստեղ եւ հուսանք, որ մեր ողբերի մարևանները չմփչացնի։
Լավա, չէ, լավ, լավ,
Բարձրացրեք քաշի։ Ասի, ահա։ Օպի մաջեկը պրոբլեմ ունի։
Sitting for the director Arman Ayvazyan was Manuel Bagdjiadjian, who answered questions by mediator Mr. Theodore Pogosyan.
How did you manage to make an uplifting film about this topic?
How Stones came about was Vartan Huandisyan was the head of Bars Media. He had heard about these group of guys who were going to go try and save all the Kashgars from the territories that were surrendered to Azerbaijan, and he thought Arman would be a perfect choice to go and document that with his verite style of filmmaking. And I really think that, like you said, it's a very tragic story and tragic circumstances, but he really was able to capture like the hope of preserving our culture and heritage through saving these once a person who wouldn't understand would just think they're like some old stones, but to us they're extremely important.
Watching this twice, as I did, somehow you managed, or Bars managed, to make these stones living things. And as we all know about Genocide 2.0, it includes cultural genocide. So talk about how the perception of this film is changing every day with news reports.
The Kashgars are just like a metaphor for the actual stones of the mountains of Artsakh. How by saving these stones, these Kashgars, we're preserving the stones that are being taken away from us. So just it's really important of course, for the Armenian community to support and see these kinds of films. But I think that through very intriguing and engaging filmmaking like this, we'll be able to get these stories out to non-Armenian audiences for them to become aware of.
Screenings of Armenians in film at Lincoln Center is yet another example of an important work AGBU Arts is doing to promote Armenian artists around the world. This year's event, however, carries a special meaning as AGBU raises funds for displaced Armenians from Artsakh.